If you missed it last night, New Jersey Devils defeat the Rangers in Game 7, move on. The Sixers win Game 1 against the Celtics, and then the Nuggets take a 2-0 lead against the Suns. So that's your recap. I got some hockey and NBA start the new series today. Gator baseball plays the semis today as well. Let's go to the Titan More Hotline. We're joined by the late night talk show host of the Florida Gators, Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Good morning, Buddy. How are you?
Do I got to hear Johnny? Right, that's what you said last night.
You're Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
a lot of our listeners may not know who Johnny Carson is.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, and even David Letterman, for that matter. So who knows?
That's right, Buddy. Let's get your thoughts. I was on your program last night. Let's talk one more day about the draft.
Yep.
Obviously, mini camps and OTAs and all that stuff will be starting. Rookie mini camps, things of that nature. But you told me you watched a lot of the draft. I did not.
Yeah.
6 Gators were drafted. Other guys were signing free agent contracts. Anything surprise you? Did you think more Gators would go or fewer?
No, actually, I thought maybe fewer. But they came through and they got a couple of free agents in there too, guys who can still play, make teams. I would be lying to say I thought Anthony would go that high originally. Although as it got closer and closer, it became evident that Indy really liked him. And that's like I wrote and said, that's why the Colts plane was parked there for 2 weeks, like they're a double parked New York City cab driver. That plane was there. They wanted him really bad. And Shane Steicher, who's done such a terrific job with quarterbacks as he did in Philly last year. By the way, the new offensive coordinator, in case you're forgetting Philly, is Brian Johnson. He thinks he sees something special in Anthony, and obviously thinks he can coach him up and win with him, and why not? What the heck? So that was great. Obviously, we didn't see some of the guys that fell. I didn't see Will Levis falling that far, but funny things happen in this draft. You start spiraling downward, and next thing you know, you dropped out of the first round. But no, I think the Eagles had a great draft. They got Jalen Carter at 9. It looks like the Gator up there, Howie Roseman has set his eyes on the SEC prizes, all those Georgia Bulldogs. And yes, we are drumming him out of the Florida alumni after that. Brad Beard made that claim last night, as you saw the quote from Howie when he said, I guess I'm pulled my card as a Florida alumnus after drafting these effing Bulldogs. So, no, I think it was I really was more impressed with it, Shane. I'm not a draft guy, you know that. I don't watch it very often, but I watched them a lot this week, primarily because my son-in-law was here. He's a huge Packer fan. Packers had a lot of picks. So I paid attention to it. I don't know what I learned, if anything, except maybe a few names. But obviously, everybody's a winner in the draft. Everybody thinks they got the answer. So good for the Gators to get 6 giants. And by the way, 17 straight years, the SEC had most players.
Banker, M.M. Parrish.
Yeah. Andy has a question on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law. He says, Shane, why were so many offensive tackles taken ahead of guards? I thought Osiris Torrance would have been picked sooner. Tackles are a premium.
Big Mills cheesesteak. McDonald's of Gainesville.
Playing offensive line is not easy, so I don't want people to take this the wrong way. But guard is much easier to play than tackle.
What's the difference? Obviously, they're going to have be a better athletes to tackle.
Well, you're on an island.
Quarterback.
You're on an island. Remember, if you're the right or the left tackle, there's nobody on your outside to help.
Yeah.
If you're a guard or center, you have help on both sides for the most part. So you got to be a really good pass protector, and that's why usually the tackles, the premier ones, make a lot of money.
Left tackles are a premium, always have been a premium, because that protects quarterback's blind side for a right-handed guy. So, yeah, they've always gone at a premium for sure.
But Osiris, he's a guy that's, I expect him to have a minimum of 10 years in the National Football League. Solid player. I think he plays a long, long time. And, boy, he's going to a good football team. He couldn't ask for a better situation to go play for the Buffalo Bills.
That's true.
Yeah. Text on the Titan Mark text line from Darrow says, "Good morning, guys. The Gators are in the thick of the SEC baseball race. Good to see the Jags pick up Ventrell Miller." Yeah, we'll talk with JP Shadrick, second portion of today's show, a little bit more about the Ventrell Miller pick. I think he can last a while in the league too, if he can stay healthy. That's the only concern. He's been banged up quite a bit.
Yeah.
In his
they loved his intangibles, quote unquote. We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And Billy convinced them also, they convinced themselves, their intangibles are off the charts. He is such a good, smart player, 110% guy. I forgot he got in trouble as a freshman, way back when. I forgot about all that. But certainly he was the leader on that defense. I hate to think what they would have been without him, which they were part of the time, which was part of the problem. But Ventrell may have a long career in the National Football League.
Cliff says, I think it was good that Will Levis dropped where he did and ended up going to a team that's a good fit for him, and he doesn't have to start immediately. I kind of agree with that. I think he'll be a good fit there for sure. Rick says, "What is your engineer smoking? Ads are running on top of your comments." I don't know. Maybe they can. I don't know what any of that means. So we'll see if we can get that fixed there, Rick. But we got a text here on the Titan Mark text line. It's an interesting one, buddy. I'm going to get your thoughts on this. It comes from Jackson. He says, "Is Anthony Richardson the greatest Florida quarterback ever?"
I mean, I don't know what that means. I've said.
Well, I'm going to answer and say, hell no. I mean, it's not even close.
But I mean, you can't even evaluate him. How can you evaluate Anthony Richardson on 13 games? You can't. I said this, and I'll stand by it. And I know potential is a word coaches like you don't like to hear because it kills coaches. I said, and will continue to say that after I saw him the first time, he has the biggest upside, the greatest potential of any quarterback I've ever seen in Florida. And that goes back to 1950. So I'm not an expert, but I do see that, saw that. Now, can that be realized? That's the question. I don't know how you can evaluate that question. I mean, now after he's played Florida, will he? I don't know how to answer that question.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, he's not even a top 10 quarterback for the University of Florida.
Well, here's
if you think about it, and this is not a knock on him; it's just the facts.
Let me give you a list here because I saw that. I think this is I don't know, USA Today, whatever. They listed the ranking the last 10 Gators starting quarterbacks. Okay, and they ranked them 1 through 10. And obviously Trask was 1. How many of the next 5 or 6 could you pick?
Repeat it one more time. I was reading
this is a list. I believe, I don't know if it was Pat Dooley. I kind of know where it came from off my Twitter. Ranking the last 10 Gators starting quarterbacks. Okay.
Ranking?
Yeah, ranking them 1 through 10. Yeah, rating them. The last 10 starters over the years. Right.
Well, obviously in the last 10 years, so 10 years would be in 2013.
Well, last 10 quarterbacks could be more than 10.
Well, crap. Well, obviously Trask, there's no question it's Trask.
By far and away. And away. Yeah. And then you start thinking, I don't agree. I
would say Felipe Franks has been more productive than anybody else in the last 10 years.
He's third on this list. No, I'm not. He's third.
How far? When did I would put Will Greer up there?
He was number 2.
Yeah. And after that, everybody's kind of been the same.
Well, he's got Richardson 4th, and then Emory Jones 5th, which is interesting because so much was expected out of Emory that he didn't live up to, and wasn't all his fault. And there's a bunch of other quarterbacks in there. Gosh, Jeff Driscoll.
Jeff had a chance to be
I know.
He's still in the NFL, buddy.
I know. And look, they told me, the coaching staff told me that when they were recruiting Jeff Driscoll, if we don't get any other players except Driscoll, we made it. That's how much they thought of him.
Well, he was the number 1 player in America.
I know he was. So then you got to add Austin Appleby, Luke Del Rio, Treon Harris, and Tyler Murphy. Yeah, that's what they got. I mean, that's what we had.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good.
So
anyway, I don't. I mean,
that's just somebody's list. I can make a list. You can make a list. Anybody?
Well, I'll tell you. I can make a list right here off the top of my head. Not in the last 10 years or 10
Well, all
starters.
time since you were there, obviously you, Danny, Tebow, we could go on.
You got Rex, you got Leak, you got
Rex.
John Reeves, you got Kerwin. I mean, on
Right.
and on and on. You got guys that won a lot of games and were very, very productive quarterbacks.
And by the way, Spurrier was a pretty good quarterback too, just in case you forget.
Yeah, so no, he wouldn't even be in my top 10, but that does not matter.
Spurrier?
So. No, I'm talking about Anthony.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, he wouldn't. There's no way to rate him in there. That list, no. But I think he
Doug
could
and
be
Jesse ahead of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, his body of work's not big enough, okay? And we have no way to.
Doug and Jesse didn't have a whole lot of because they split so much time.
Well, but they had.
But anyway, he's got a long ways to go, and I hope it works out. And I'm pulling for him, and we'll see what the Colts can do. That's all I can say. So,
all right.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter anymore. That's the thing is like when people always talked about Tim Tebow not being a successful NFL player. I'm like, who cares?
It doesn't matter. He was a great
if you're a Gator fan, all you should care about is what he did wearing your school colors.
Why he wore the orange and blue. That's correct.
Right. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Wayne Peace was a hell of a quarterback. You're exactly right.
He was.
So, yeah.
I can give you a few more if you want them. I mean, there's a lot of them that are really good players. I go back to Larry Libator in those days. But I want to get to something when you get time, if possible, and that is why Billy is on the clock, okay? Billy is on the clock now.
He's on the clock? When's the clock? How long's the clock ticking?
The clock started yesterday on May 1st, okay? The clock is – the portal now is closed except for graduate transfers. I don't know what he's done there. We read those names last night on my show. And Kyle Curtis had a list of people they thought they were going to go after. By the way, a lot of them were Michigan State players. What happened to Michigan State? 3 years ago, he was a genius and got a bonus and got moved up to $95 million.
That's their fault.
I know. Yeah, and I'm just saying that's how quickly it can come and go. But I'm saying, look, let's be honest about Billy. We didn't go with the schedule last night. We won't do it today. But you say you see 8 wins. I'm looking still. But
yeah, I got minimum of 8 wins.
Yeah, okay.
I booked that about
I know you did
a month and a half ago.
All right.
I'm on record.
All right. Now let's just be harsh. And I even thought about this today as if it was SEC football was a poker game. What hand are you holding? Obviously Kirby's got 4 aces or four of a kind, and Saban's probably got a full house and so on. Billy's the guy who said, don't play with scared money. I asked the question, does he have scared money? Because here's the deal. 4 months in counting, Shane. 4 months in counting. It's here. It's on us. Billy's got to play the hand he's dealt, okay? That's what we got. Now the portal's closed. He's got that new facility, Shane, you told me 100 times. They really can't. They got to get that new facility to be able to recruit. They got it. Okay. They got it. 100 people coaching his team, including the new defensive coordinator, Austin Armstrong, and now Billy Gonzalez. Got those people in place. Got his transfer quarterback. Got a big NIL deal. Now it's time to produce. It's time to produce, show up and produce.
I told you they're going to win. I told you they're going to win 8 games.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah, I am very confident in that.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
Very confident. And if I'm not mistaken, because I don't follow recruiting, I want to say we're like ranked 2nd or 3rd in American recruiting for next year.
No, I don't think it's that high. But anyway.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure. But I mean, I don't pay much attention to next year. Let's talk about this year.
Well, you can't recruit anybody now, buddy.
Well, I understand that, but they don't have. Let's see. You mean commits? Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll get somebody. We'll talk to somebody who follows this better. But I'm just saying, it's time for Billy to show his hand. Look, I like Billy, but this is a business.
What do you want him to show?
I want to see what he's going to do on the field now.
Okay, well, he can't show his hand until
I'm just saying he's on the clock. He's on the clock. Yeah. That means he's got to produce, make a choice.
They're going to win 8 games minimum.
All right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just got to see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course you got to see it. Every school has to see what they're going to produce. Mm-hmm. People in Tuscaloosa right now don't know if they can win 8 games.
Well, I think they do. But anyway,
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Wait, did Nick Saban become a bad coach in last year?
No, but
change coordinator.
We are going to be a better football team this year, a more consistent football team than what you saw last year.
I hope so.
Because
this is the University of Florida here. This ain't Vanderbilt, okay?
You can't
lose to Vanderbilt, Kentucky. You can't.
We won't. All
right.
There's a lot of reasons we lost those games, okay? We won't lose those this year. So, at Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Buddy Martin on the Titan MR hotline, you can listen to Buddy every weeknight on Facebook Live around 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have JP Shadrick talking Jaguars and their draft coming up, second portion of today's show. All right, so, Buddy, how many games do you think we're going to win?
I don't know. It's not what I want them to win. I got to see the evidence they can win more than 6. I don't see it yet. I'm really a little disappointed they didn't do more in the portal. At least.
Okay, but let me just ask you this. You say that, and I understand. But let's just say they would have signed 6 other players from different schools. Would that make you feel better?
Depends on who they were.
Well, you don't even know who. I'll be honest with you. The guys that they signed that played in the spring game, there's a kid from like Ohio State, a kid from Michigan. I don't even know their names. Does that make you feel good because they signed those players?
No, Shane, it's like anything you evaluate on it's the X factor. You don't know what X is. Do you know how good their recruits are? You don't know except for the stars they put on them. You haven't followed them. You haven't watched film. I haven't. I don't know. I take the word of the people who evaluate these guys. But I know there are players that Florida wanted they didn't get a lot of. Okay,
right, and most of those players probably went to Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia.
Last time I looked, they were in the SEC, Alabama and Georgia. That's where Florida plays.
Greg says, "What has changed that we won't lose games that we did last year?" Okay, Greg. Here's again. This is my opinion.
Okay.
Everybody in America has their own opinion on regardless of what it is in the world, whether it's sports, politics, whatever. We will be better on defense. You cannot get any worse. Would you agree with that, buddy?
I would agree with that, yes.
And offensively, we are going to be way more consistent.
Well, I don't know about that.
Why do you think that?
Because the passing game is not
buddy,
well, you asked me a question.
Right. But I'm going to explain to you. I think you have in your mind what made you, after the spring game last year, think Florida was going to be a great passing team.
I never said great passing team.
Okay, I'm not saying we're going to be great, but I'm telling you right now, and I guess a year from now, I will buy you dinner if we're not a more consistent offense.
Well, I mean, consistent mean complete more passes. That didn't mean anything. I mean, look.
What do you mean that doesn't mean anything? When it's 3rd and 5 and you complete it, now you have 3 more downs.
All right.
That is huge.
I understand.
When you call plays.
Shane, I understand that part of the game. Okay, I understand that part of the game. I'm saying to you, you talk about accuracy. That was what you complained about with Richardson, right? Accuracy.
It's a fact. It's no complaint.
Let's see what Graham Mertz can do.
Graham Mertz is extremely accurate.
But you don't have the stats to show me that.
I don't. I'm going by what I have been told by a lot of people, not Gator coaches, coaches around the country.
All right. Well, you know the game, you know the people. I don't have that.
Like I said,
would have these 2 eyes to look at what I see. And right again, now, I haven't seen it yet.
I think Graham Mertz is a quarterback that people who have watched Florida football for a long time are going to relate to because he's going to complete passes. He ain't going to jump over nobody. He's not going to make 10 people miss, but he's going to make the throws that Buddy Martin and Gator fan that's sitting in Section 5 think they're boring, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a 5-yard out route.
No. It has nothing to do with 5 yards. It's hitting the 15-yard dig route. That's boring to fans. But you know what it does? It's a first down moving the chain.
I don't see anything wrong with a 15-yard reception.
Okay,
That's
I'm
fine.
not talking about a 5-yard pass.
I'm used to seeing Kyle Trask, okay?
Okay.
And by the way,
Kyle Trask. They're the same guy.
You think Graham Mertz is better than Emory Jones, do you think?
Yes.
In what regard?
He's a better thrower.
Not a better runner.
I don't care. Take running out of it. I don't give a damn if he doesn't run for 2
How
yards.
can you take running out of it today's game, Shane? That's very
Because
much
the
a part
best.
of the game.
Okay, Bryce Young, did he run?
No, but he also had
Okay, did C.J. Stroud run?
little bit.
Okay, they
Little bit,
scramble. They don't run to run. You
Mhm.
have to be a good thrower to win football games at a high level. Nobody will ever change my mind of that. I don't care about the game has changed. It's not 20 years ago. If you go back and you look at the great teams, the good offenses, it's because they can throw the football at a consistent level. Okay?
Yeah, and get good receivers and a good offensive line and move the ball and
Well,
turn it
you
over.
can't.
The defense gets people off the field. That's the key. Look, I know all that. I understand that. I know didn't think Richardson was a great quarterback.
Look. This has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. Let's call him Tim Jones. I don't care if it's Tim Jones playing at another school. I personally, I've watched a lot of football in my days. I've been around players. I've been around a lot of coaches. I don't care about splash plays. I need consistency. And yes, what happens is when you get coaches that get these guys that are really athletic, they fall in love with them because you know what it does? It's because when you make a bad play call, you're hoping that
bailed out. Yeah,
you're hoping his athletic ability will make 10 people miss and he'll run for 25 yards.
Well, let me ask you this, Shane.
I look at it a different way.
Is 3 yards in a cloud of dust consistency? That's consistency. It won for Ohio State with the A's all those years, and it kept making first downs. So consistency can be a lot of things. Consistently efficient. I like splash plays. Okay, I like them.
Okay, splash plays. That doesn't mean you don't throw a 70-yard touchdown on a post route. That's not a splash play. People think that. I'm talking about all the stuff that is not what you call, and then a player makes it happen. For example, Anthony had a million of those where he makes a spin move, makes 4 people miss, throws a touchdown.
Okay? Anything wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I would rather have him drop back 10 straight plays and make good throws and good reads than that one splash play. Because when you have consistent play, your offense moves much better. I may not be explaining this well.
I'd like to have both. So there you go.
Well, there's not many that do. Caleb Williams is he can do both.
Good player. He'll be top, maybe the number 1 pick next year.
Somebody here, Pittman says, Trask not being accurate is one of the dumbest comments I've ever seen on here. I don't know who said that.
Who said that?
I'm not sure.
Nobody ever said that. Of course he was accurate. That was his game.
Chad says, with Mertz, we win the Kentucky game last year and maybe FSU as well. You know, it's everybody has their own opinion. And I think they're going to be very efficient on offense. That's all I'm saying.
So you agree with me that the Billy's on the clock, and you think he's going to he's not on the clock?
If we win 4 games next year, they're not firing anybody.
I didn't say that. He needs to have some urgency about winning.
Well, I think,
games.
I don't. It doesn't matter if it's Billy Napier or Mark Stoops or the Buchholz High School football coach.
He's the coach. He's the coach. He's the head
everybody
coach.
has urgency to win games because that's what the
now Shane,
you
kept saying
about.
over and over again, if he gets his facility, he's got his facility. All right.
And they're doing extremely well in recruiting, buddy.
What does that mean?
Well, hell, he's had 1 recruiting class. They're playing this year.
So you're just automatically assuming that 8 wins is going to be there next year.
Yes, I'm telling you right now, they're going to win 8 games minimum.
And the quarterback play is going to be stellar, according to you. You think Mertz
is going to be? It's going to be efficient.
Okay.
So let me ask you this: was quarterback play great last year?
No, but there was a lot of
they won 6 games.
Yeah, but that.
Yeah, but see that there's no but to it, buddy.
No, there is a but because the kid was just learning to play the position. He learned about leadership.
Let me back up. No.
Go to 6 or 7.
Everybody wants to compare year to year. Okay, 1990. Okay, were we pretty good on offense? I'm just asking.
Yeah, you were terrific on offense.
Okay, I'd never taken a snap in my life. Okay, after I left, they threw in some redshirt freshman number 7 who played pretty good. Had he ever taken a snap? No. I don't want to hear about this. There's only 13 games, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Drake May played last year and didn't take a snap, and he's best player in America. in my opinion, at quarterback. So
You just
anyway,
said Caleb was.
they're two different guys, but Drake May I would take over Caleb Williams.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they're going to go 1 and 2 in the draft next year. Both of them would have been the 2 highest picks if they'd been in this year's draft. I promise you that. So anyway, I'm just saying, what's the difference between when Werfel started, or even Chris Leak when he was thrown in as a true freshman, to what Anthony just did? I'm just asking.
Well, I'll tell you the difference in what Werfel did. He had Steve Spurrier as his coach. Okay. That's a big difference. All right. That's a big difference. And
so you think Anthony
Chris
would have
Leak,
been a better quarterback under Steve Spurrier?
And maybe Chris Leak was Urban's. He and Mullen coached him up, and they won a national. He changed his particular style and everything else. Even had him run the ball a little bit at the end. So yeah, only talking about the 2 greatest coaches in the history of the University of Florida football.
He was a senior.
But that's precisely that's precisely my point. You just said it. Billy is not Spurrier, and he's not Urban. Okay, I'm not saying that's terrible. I'm just telling you
that has nothing. Still, that doesn't mean
that's nothing like I told to do with it.
Okay, buddy, hang on. Our all-time leading passer at the University of Florida is Chris Leak. He was not coached by Spurrier. He was coached 1 year by Urban, and he wasn't even throwing that much that year.
Yeah.
So I'm against the only 13 or 14 games, blah blah blah, because if you're playing quarterback at the University of Florida or at the University of Alabama or Georgia or one of these schools, you got to produce and win. But that I look at the position different than most people.
Shane, I can't be aggravated by this stuff. I'm busy picking the Kentucky Derby winner right now. Okay,
who's your winner?
I don't know. We're going to find out. The drawing was yesterday. It's coming up this Saturday. The Kentucky Derby, in my hometown of Ocala.
But you don't know who you're picking?
Derby winner. Yeah, I'm probably picking 40, but I have looked at 40, number 15, great number, by the way, but I don't know yet. I haven't studied enough. They had the drawing yesterday, and I'm looking for my Florida breds. I haven't done my homework. I just know that Florida has produced 6 Derby winners. I've seen them all. It's been a thrill. And of course, as you know, this is the horse capital of the world. So yeah, I'll be watching the Derby on Saturday. I still think it's exciting. I love it. I've covered a bunch of them. I'll pick me a horse. You got to pick one out too. You want to get it now?
I don't even know who the number 9 horse is, but I always take the 9 horse.
Well, all right. So you're going to go for 9. Number 9 is Skinner.
Oh, Riley Skinner.
Here, number 9 is just Skinner. He's 20-1. Okay.
Okay. All right. We got a chance. David says on Facebook Live, listen to this, buddy. Look at talking about Trask here. It says, look at his throws and look at the catch radius of his receivers. Why do you think he has not broken into the starting role of the Bucks and they have a retread like Baker going to start? Look, I've said from day one, Kyle Trask will be in the NFL for 10 plus years, maybe not as a starter. I don't know if he's a starter. It doesn't matter. The dude was unbelievable for the Gators. He is accurate. Doesn't have great feet, but he's an accurate and a hell of a college quarterback. And he may never start an NFL game, but that doesn't matter.
Wait a minute here. Hold on a second. What? Who was he playing behind? Oh, the GOAT. He couldn't beat him out? Oh, he's a failure. Come on, man.
No. I agree with that, but he's talking about how they signed Baker Mayfield, who's probably going to be a starter.
Baker Mayfield's not taking snaps yet, okay? He had not won the job yet, all right? He might, but he hasn't. Baker Mayfield's an insurance policy. Talk about inconsistency now. He is really inconsistent. Give Trask the credit, like you said. He's not supposed to be the next Tom Brady, all right? Give him a chance. Give him I'm talking about what he did at Florida. I saw 2 years of fantastic quarterback play from a guy who came off the bench and saved Dan Mullen's ass, okay? And the question is, why wasn't he playing before?
Alan in Atlanta on Titan MR Tech says, Shane, I hope you're right. I'm expecting Mertz will remind us of Appleby or Brantley. Most likely will be a platoon with Miller as the season goes on. We would have lost Utah and A&M without AR last year. Would have been worse without him last year. Well, you lost a couple of games because of him too, though. You got to think of that. So, look, I think he's extremely talented. I don't know how many times I've talked about it on this program. I'm just talking about consistent play. Because if you look at all I've said it a million times. Consistency, where's it at? All right, buddy, who you got on your program tonight?
Scott Carter is going to be joining us to go with draft picks, and David Whitley from the Sun. And then Lauren Meadows, the coach, is going to break down a few things for us, talk about what's there. And we might pick a Derby winner again tonight on the show. So, Shane, I got you down for number 9. Skinner, that's your horse.
9 horse and eight minimum of 8 wins, buddy. Book it.
All right, I got both of them there. I'll be holding you to both of those, okay?
Yep. I'm not even
Tuesday
morning. I have more concerns about the 9 horse because I don't know a damn thing about the 9 horse.
Well, he's 20-1. What would you say you were when you went to Florida? What were your odds of being the starter? You were probably 30-1.
I would say probably about 200-1, buddy. 200-1.
And look at you now.
But I had no splash plays, buddy. How about that?
How about that?
That's Buddy Martin joining us.
You actually did have a few. You did have a few flash plays too.
No, I didn't. I didn't hurdle anybody or.
No, but that's not a splash play.
Yes, that's what people get excited about.
We got to get that definition. Well, okay, all right, whatever. We don't agree today, Shane.
Yep. All right, that's Buddy Martin joining us on the Titan More Hotline. Take a quick timeout. We'll be joined by JP Shadrick from the Jaguars.com. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. It's
where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike International, Diamond Center, Dave & Buster's, Palmetto Moon, Escape Apology, Visor's Rooftop, and the HBC's Restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're going to head to the Titan More Hotline up to Jacksonville. We're joined by JP Shadrick from Jaguars.com. Good morning, JP. How you doing, my man?
Good morning, Shane. It's good to be back with you. The draft is over. I never would have imagined 13 draft picks would have come to Jacksonville. It's the most in Jags history. So after a little bit of a down day yesterday, kind of quiet, we're back in the office today getting ready to move forward.
Well, let's talk about the Jags' first pick. They take an offensive tackle, I believe, out of Oklahoma. And I was actually in Jacksonville. I guess it was Thursday and Friday, and listening to radio. they had a offensive lineman had some issues with PEDs or whatever. Do you think that changed their strategy for the draft?
So the general manager, Trent Baalke, told me on draft day when that news came out the morning of the draft that Cam Robinson is at least in the process of going through the second sample to be tested to see if he'll be suspended for the PEDs. So they're not sure of a timetable for how many games yet. It's still not a finished situation. That said, they've known about it for a number of weeks, I was told, at least 3-4 weeks. So it's been cooked into their process already. It's not like the morning of the draft, they went in and moved players' names all over the board and, oh gosh, now we got to get a tackle. No, I think this was part of the process because, I mean, what is it going to be? It's 6 games or less. That's a third of the season or less. So I think they wanted for the future to get as many guys as they can to help protect the quarterback, no matter what happens with Cam Robinson. So even with the suspension, they can get out of Cam Robinson's contract at the end of the season. I think there's only $5 million of dead money next year in 2024. So moving ahead, he's got to play pretty well, I think, and there's an out at least. Walker Little's got 2 years left on his rookie deal, the other tackle. So Doug Peterson said it after they picked him. Hey, Anton Harrison's going to be the right tackle. Walker Little's going to be the left tackle until Cam Robinson comes back. They'll figure it out there. If things are going well, we'll see. I mean, I think we're a little early for that, but Harrison's here to play, and he's here to play for a long, long time.
What did you like the Jaguars draft? What would J.P. Shadrick done differently if you could have done it?
Well, I think they tried to trade up a couple of times. They traded back twice in the first round and still got the guy they wanted in Harrison to acquire some day 3 picks. Well, they tried to move some of those day 3 picks back into round number 3, and nobody was biting. So I don't think they wanted initially 13 players, but by the time they got the day 3, it's like, well, nobody's going to play ball with us. Might as well let's get some players. Let's get some cheaper labor in here, to be quite honest with you, because after the season, they're going to start figuring out Trevor Lawrence's contract. So, hey, it's not a bad thing to have guys that can come in, compete, play. I think overall, the first 2 days, first, second, and third rounds were all offensive parts and things that can contribute to Doug Peterson's attack right away. We mentioned Harrison, obviously, on the offensive line. But tight end Brenton Strange is a guy you can line up anywhere, outside and right off the tackle. He's a fullback. He's all over the place in that Penn State offense. And then Tank Bigsby has that, I guess, attitude, kind of physicality, if you will, that they really didn't have in a shorter yardage situation last year. And you were kind of holding your breath with Travis Etienne, hoping he didn't get banged up. So I like the first 3 rounds especially. And then there's some guys on rounds 4 and 5, including a Gator, that can come in, compete, and really help on special teams.
Yeah, speaking of Ventrell Miller, really good college football player. Love his energy, runs sideline to sideline. Had a lot of injuries throughout his career, but he's a guy that I think can really help the Jags, if anything, on special teams. So we'll see. Andy's got a Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. He wants to know, JP, and I'll answer this as well. Do you think Calvin Ridley's return will have a meaningful impact on the Jags passing game? He's one of the fastest dudes in the league. Heck yeah, he will.
Yeah, I think immediately. I think they haven't really been on the field except for one day. Yesterday was the start of phase 2. So, yes, absolutely. Any way you can give the other guy they played well without him last year, right? I mean, they had 2 different 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher. They could be an offense that could push for 3,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher. That's only happened twice in league history, the 95 Falcons and the 04 Colts. I mean, this is an offense that has the quarterback that can go do it, the play caller who isn't scared to dial it up, and guys who, at least so far, have been really good teammates who aren't worried about the number of catches and everything. Now, everybody's got a little ego to them in the NFL. You kind of have to be that guy, but so far, so good on that. And Ridley, just hearing him talk, Shane, he's just excited to be back in a football environment again. He didn't really know. He wasn't sure if he'd be allowed back. I mean, it was an indefinite suspension. It wasn't like, hey, you get a year. So he's happy to be back. He said he just liked the smell of the place of all things, like it just the walking in the locker room and just being around the environment, around the guys again. He's been here. He's been working out. He's in a good headspace just listening to him talk the other day. So I think he could be a really dynamic piece to this offense, and that's trouble for the rest of the AFC South.
Yeah, speaking offensively, I think Doug Peterson's outstanding, as you said, dialing them up. He's got the weapons now. When you look at this team to take that next step, obviously they had a tremendous run at the end of the year into the playoffs. Defensively, they have to take a step forward. Who on the defense, and I know it's real early, they're still in helmets and shorts or what have you, but who have they added to the defense that Jaguar fans can get excited about?
Well, honestly, they didn't really go big in free agency. They didn't have a lot of money to do that. They've done that the last 2 years. They got a couple of key pieces, like they got a defensive lineman, veteran player. You know, they lost Arden Key, pass rusher, so they picked up another veteran like that. You know, those guys, you're supposed to be able to pick up a lot of years and fill those spots. So, you know, and Doug Peterson's talked about this all offseason. We need better pass rush. Okay, that's great. But consider what this organization spent in the draft on pass rush. It hasn't really come through consistently. Josh Allen, now in his last year coming up, it's his 5th year. He's got to step up and play. Trayvon Walker was the number 1 overall pick last year. Are they going to move Devin Lloyd around some to put him maybe on the line? He was really good in that type of role at Utah in college. So they didn't get a lot of pass rush. They were near the bottom of the league in sacks last year. And that was the real thing that I think they'd love to improve upon, because you get pressure that improves your turnovers on the back end, which they were pretty good in takeaways last year. I don't know if this defense this is not the 2000 Ravens, far from it. They're not ever, I don't think they're designed, they don't want to be designed like that. They need to take the ball away enough to give the offense a chance to score. They're going to try to outscore teams this year on offense. So whatever this defense can do to set them up, they might give up 400 yards, but as long as they break serve, if you will, right? As long as they get a takeaway when you didn't give one up and you get a possession ahead, you know, if this offense runs like it should, you should be in pretty good shape. That's the idea of this defense, you know, and I know they would never admit that on defense. They want to shut you down and do all the things, you know how defenders are. But I think in general, that's probably how it's designed. Get a little better at pass rush, take the ball away on the back end where you can, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think they're going to be outstanding on offense. Dan has a question here from out in Texas on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. How are the new Jaguar facilities coming along next to the stadium?
Oh, they're coming in hot. I mean, the Jaguars get the keys July 1st, and we'll move in, and then training camp will be there on the new practice fields. The grass went in, I think, Monday of last week. They rolled out all the grass on the 2 fields outside. It's looking good. They're doing some finishing touches in the building. Obviously, it's May 2nd now, so it's coming in quick. I was in there probably a month ago. We did a walkthrough kind of tour, and it was still very much a construction zone. Obviously, still is, but you could start to see the scope of the rooms and how big and the size of this place is pretty impressive, and it's badly needed. It's going to be a big game changer, I think, for the football side of this team.
No doubt about it. JP, the AFC South. Obviously, the Jags won it last year. The Titans have kind of been a thorn in their side. You got the Texans that have struggled, but I like what they did in the draft. And you got the Colts with the new coaches, Anthony Richardson going there. I mean, I haven't seen the Vegas odds or anything, but the Jags have to be the favorite, I guess, to win that division.
They should be. I don't know about the odds and all that stuff. That's for entertainment purposes only where I'm from, so we can't really deal with that stuff.
Right.
But I think they should be. I mean, the way they finished like a freight train last year and were really, really good. Now, they were a fumble away, a Derrick Henry non-fumble away from not winning the division. So they go up to Tennessee, they fumbles it away. They rally down the stretch, they keep winning the games and do it. They lose one of those games, we're talking about a different animal, right? I mean, Tennessee wins it, and they're still the kings of the mountain, right? So it wasn't like they blew the division away last year, but they are set up. They are the only one with a quarterback that has been around for a couple years, who's had some success, who, hey, a lot of people feel like can be the next great guy in the AFC South. Well, that's why these teams are going to chase him, because I think Judy Batista wrote this article on NFL.com right after the draft on Monday yesterday. You know, it was, the Colts went on that run with Peyton and nobody could catch up. Nobody could figure it out. It's kind of the building block of that. You got a quarterback, you got weapons. Oh gosh, we got to catch up with this guy now, or we might not catch him for another 5, 7, 10 years. That's why everybody's getting quarterbacks early. That's why you go maybe reach for one. And that's why you go get some pass rushers to go with it in Houston, because this is the reason why. And that's a different feeling around Jacksonville, I must say, to kind of be the hunted instead of the hunter.
Yeah, I think they got a chance to be really good because like I said earlier, I think Doug Peterson calls plays as well as anybody. He's got so many pieces now to play with. Before we let you go, one of my co-hosts, he's bought season tickets over there now. He jumps on all the bandwagons. It doesn't matter what team it is, he jumps on the bandwagon. So he's now a Jaguar fan, but he was going through their schedule. Good gracious. It's difficult. Oh, now it's difficult every year, no matter where you play in the NFL, but it just seems like, don't they have the Chiefs, the Bengals, and other contenders coming to Jacksonville?
Yeah, it's a first place schedule. So the first place teams from all these divisions that you play will be on your schedule. So at home this year, the Jaguars have scheduled, the official schedule comes out in probably a couple of weeks, but the opponents have been set. So the Ravens are coming, Falcons, Bengals, Panthers, Chiefs, 49ers. And of course the division games. That's the home games. The road games this year, the divisional teams, Tennessee into Houston, and then Browns, Saints, at the Bucks, at the Steelers, at the Bills. So, yes, you've got some really good teams on your schedule. That's what it is. When you're in first place, you're going to play first place teams. As you said, they're all tough anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see how it falls, man. And, you get on a little run early, catch your breath middle of the season maybe if you have a bye in there, and then make the run like they did last year, and all of a sudden you're in the hunt playing in January. That's the fun part.
Yeah. Well, JP, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. You're going to be doing some play-by-play against some college ball this year?
I think so. Yeah, we're a little early on that, but it's trending that direction, which is good news. So we'll see, man. It was good to see you on television recently too, Shane, dialing up the plays in Orlando.
Well,
the X.
We weren't a very good football team, but we tried. So it was fun. It was fun for sure.
Yeah.
JP, let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, at JP Shadrick, SHADRICK. And yeah, give me a follow there. We're there all the time. Jaguars.com, all of our draft content from over the weekend. And it's deep, Shane. It's deep. We've got everything you ever wanted for every draft pick, every conversation they've had since they've been picked, interviews, highlights, everything you want. It's all right there. Jaguars.com, free website. Check it out.
Well, exciting times over there, no doubt. Appreciate your time, my man.
All right, Shane, good to talk to you.
Yep, that's JP Shadrick. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to wrap up a few more Facebook Lives here before we get out of here. David says he kind of wants to go buy Jag season tickets now. Well, JP must have got him pretty excited. There was one on here. Oh, here it is from David. Yeah, we got a few more minutes, so then we'll wrap up here. David says, as much as I respect Shane's a quarterback of Val's, Kyle Trask was injured, couldn't put weight on his leg, and had changed his release point. Do you not remember all the high balls overthrown? I don't. The dude threw for over 4,000 yards in a year, David. So I don't remember. I know he got hurt, but it's all good. So let me get to some more text messages here. And he may have been inaccurate at times, but gosh, he set records left and right. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Tomorrow's program, we'll have JC, and I got a couple of guests waiting to hear back from them. And you have to tune in tomorrow to see who it is. And then Thursday, we'll have Brent Beard talking college football. But we appreciate Buddy joining the program today. And he and I kind of go at it at times. But I understand he and again, everything I say has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. I'd say the same thing about Justin Fields or any of those guys. All I'm trying to say is I firmly believe that we will be a more consistent offense at the University of Florida next year because we're going to play the position under control, know where to go with the football, things of that nature. Dan says on Facebook Live, remember the 4th down Hail Mary AR passes that landed in the stands? Yeah, those things shouldn't happen next year, but who knows? But as I said, I am pulling for him with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know if they're going to throw him in right away. Maybe they do. I just think Gardner Minshew knows that system coming from Philly. I think he will probably be the day one starter, but maybe not. But the Jags are the clear-cut favorite. And then I would say the Titans and then Colts and Texans are kind of the same team right now. Andy says, before we get out of here, the fact that the Bucs didn't draft a QB, does that bode well for Trask? Well, they signed Baker Mayfield, a veteran who started in, I want to say Baker was the number 1 overall pick. Kyle will be given a chance, I guess, to start. I don't even know who their new offensive coordinator is. As I said, when he got drafted, I said that he would be a guy that would last 8 to 10 years or even longer because he's a good teammate. He's smart. He's accurate. He's the perfect type of backup quarterback. I don't know if he's good enough to be a starter. Not good enough's not the right word. It's just he's a really good player, and I think he'd be a good player in that league. But you're not going to get splash plays out of him, and that's what everybody wants nowadays, splash plays. Baker can make some splash plays and run around, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess it's those two. I don't know who else they have on their roster. But he'll get a lot of work in the preseason, and we shall see. So good player, good player. All right, one more text before we get out of here. This is from, I don't know who it's from. It's an anonymous texter. He says, I will listen to Shane's QB analysis. He called AR being a first-round QB last year before anyone else was saying it. Look, I'm wrong a lot. I don't know a whole lot. I feel like I do know quarterback play. I do know a little bit about football. You knew he was going to be a first-round pick, and I just hope he progresses there and can just understand how to play the position. And they're going to utilize him with his ability to run the ball. And again, he didn't really want to run it here for some reason. And when you run it there, boy, you better get down because those are trained killers. They will try to hurt you for sure. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Appreciate you joining us. Let all your friends and family know about our podcast on all the different platforms. If you have any businesses that want to advertise with us, we're all around the country or all around the world, and we'd love to have you on board. So have a great day, folks, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.